Hi, I'm Lekka, the owner of BoJack Hidden Jokes Instagram, and thank you for watching this video. I'm not very much into doing YouTube videos, but I had to come in front of the camera to share this launch with you guys. So on the next week, on June 11, Raphael Bob-Waksberg's first book is gonna be launched. It's called Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory, and by that title, you can expect some heartbrokens and some good laughs that is characteristic of Bojack and his writing. I had the opportunity to read this book previously of the launching, and I read it twice already. So good, and I wanted to share my impressions with you and some points that are gonna make you pre-order this book by the end of this video, or maybe sooner if I can do that. But basically, I want to start with a brief description of this book. So it's not a novel, it is a collection. It has 18 short stories, and when I say short, I mean a different length of stories. It has 256 pages, so that's pretty much short. If you're into reading, if you're not, you might want to start with something smaller first. But it's really well balanced in terms of all the things that it has on it. It's already on pre-order, and they're gonna release it in every possible version. So if you're into hardcover, you got it. If you're into Kindle and digital reading, you will have that edition too, and it's great because by midnight you will already receive it on your device, so it's great for the anxious people like me. They will also have an audiobook version, which is great because Raphael itself narrated some of the stories, and he also invited a lot of great people to narrate. And if you love Stephanie Beatriz on season 5 of BoJack doing Gina Cazador, you will love this audiobook because he invited her to narrate some of the stories. Now that we covered the basic about the book, I want to tell a little bit about my impressions because I'm a huge BoJack Horseman fan and I'm in love with the writing of the show. So of course, Free Churro is on my top 5 episodes because it's mostly about the writing and the flow of conscience. That is one side of me that love this book because you can find that flow in the stories. Like, you have to be really paying attention to know where the story is going and to see that double layered aspect of what Raphael does. And on the other side, the side that is huge reader, I love this book too because it is so attractive, it's so interesting. Like, I could say that this book is basically about relationships. It's not just that. You know how they say that all the stories have already been told? The difference is about how you tell them. And Raphael can do that in some new ways that are so fresh that you end up saying, oh my god, how can you tell a story about a breakup using that setup? He managed to do that. So he puts you in different situations and you get sometimes even uncomfortable to be present around that, you know, when you're next to a couple who's fighting and you're like, I'm gonna get out of here. And he puts you on there. He puts you in touch with some feelings that you didn't even know you had. Or in my opinion, I'm always worried about the author because I was like, oh my god, he must have had some rough breakups to sense and to be able to describe all these feelings. And if you're into quotations, you will love this book also because it has some great phrases. Like, you know how we end up loving some phrases from BoJack Horseman, like the "it gets easier" or others like that. So this book has some really good ones. Like, I really love the one that says, "It's what we don't do that defines who we are." That phrase resonated with me for so long, and he is so great about what he does that he even jokes about the term short stories. One of the stories, it's called short stories, and there are little tweets that are stories itself. One of them is, I don't even think about you. He couldn't wait to tell her just as soon as she called him back. I don't even think about you. He couldn't wait to tell her. That is such a mood. There are even some drawings if you're into that. Oh, and these kinds of drawing. Which you have to read to understand. Oh, and there's a list. The list is called Lies We Told Each Other. Like, it's really fine. One of the lies, it's really fine. It ends with, I love you. I love you too. Which is, ow, why would you do that? Sorry, I'm spoiling the book. He has this one called Move Across the Country, which is so hard for me because I just moved, and it's weird how close it hit to home. The last one, it's really short, and I think it's based on a sign he saw somewhere. I don't know, I gotta ask him that, but it's so painful, and you end up the book like, okay, so there's even a story about superheroes. I can totally see Raphael writing a superhero movie, and he kind of did when you think that he wrote the Lego movie, the second one. There's one story that is a sci-fi tale, really gets you in that Black Mirror vibe, and you look at that and you say, oh my god, Raphael can go to that place. And I cannot stop thinking about what a BoJack Horseman sci-fi episode would be, because he can do that, and he can put human feelings on top of that, because it doesn't matter how crazy the technology can get, it's all about how we relate to that by the end of the day, and he does that very well. By the way, happens to be the reason of this president on the cover. This president, it's a hidden joke, which I love about the cover. Also, the title is a phrase of one of the stories, so you will find that phrase while you're reading, and you're gonna stop for a moment and say, oh my god, I need a moment before I go back to this book. I did that a lot, but it's great, and I think they did a pretty good job on the design of the book. This is not the final version, but the final version has the president also here on that side, and oh, look how cute he is. This book is great because it reminds me to pay attention to my feelings. I guess when you do that, you can write something really good. So I strongly encourage you can understand yourself and write pieces that are relatable. This book, it has a poem. I was not expecting a poem by Raphael Bob-Waksberg. I don't know why. I don't know what was I expecting. And of course, the poem, the only poem in this book, it's meta. It's a poem about a guy who writes a poem to a girl, and she got, what? Like, why are you writing me a poem? It's so funny because it's so ironic, and that's what Raphael exceeds the most. Like, the irony he does, it's so sharp that you're gonna love it. And it rhymes, so I like to read poems out loud because it's almost like you're singing, so it's like a tale. Like, it's really nice. Yeah, and Raphael's book made me realize that I should read more short stories. I'm not really, I guess I wasn't a short stories reader myself, but I like to read long novels, and this book made me realize that maybe short stories are also cool because they can take you to many different places. I would absolutely love if Raphael would to make a novel. That would be great. I know that he can pull that off. Short stories is a great way to start. I hope this is the first of many books to come. And the thing that makes me so anxious about more books is that absolutely everything is possible in Raphael's stories. It's like you have no idea what is about to happen next, and That's the thing that makes me anticipate BoJack's next season the most, because people always ask me, what do you think it's gonna happen on season 6? I have no idea. I have no idea what this guy would put us through. How do you think BoJack is gonna end? I don't know. He can pull off so many different things, and he's so creative and he's so brave. For me, it's obvious that this is going to end in a very unpredictable way also. So embrace the unpredictable. I guess that's a great lesson to take from this book. And some people ask me what was my favorite story. I had to think for a second about that, but I think my favorite story was the one that resonates with me the most, and of course the one that is closer to the BoJack universe. I really want to find Raphael on the book tour. There is going to be a book tour, and I want to ask him if he wrote my favorite story before BoJack or after or during the process. My favorite story, it's called The Story with a Narrator Who Is Not Human. By that you can predict that the narrator is either an alien or an animal. So it's an animal. I hate to give a spoiler about that story because I didn't know anything about the book, and when I finished the story, actually I was in the middle of the story. The story starts and I was like, okay, what's happening here? This is not normal, okay? So you find out who the narrator is. Raphael did a really good interview to The Atlantic that I'm gonna put the link here, and he mentions that dogs are often represented by goof characters like Mr. Peanut Butter, like he's guilty of that, or like this savior, and he wanted to do something that would be on between of those things. When I finished, I was thinking, damn, he knows how to be inside of a head of an animal. It makes perfect sense that he does that all the time in BoJack. Like you have those little animal characteristics. Of course, I can't stop looking for parallels with BoJack and this book, and there is one story about siblings that remind me so much of the BoJack and Hollyhocks dynamic. I really think people are gonna see that connection. Get ready for a lot of situations like the one when Princess Caroline dates someone who is clearly 3 kids stacked on top of each other in a trench coat, because some people don't understand. It's a metaphor. It's about the lies we tell ourselves during a relationship. Princess Caroline is clearly not seen, and it's crazy how BoJack, the biggest liar of the show, gets to see who he is, and Princess Caroline just doesn't want to see. The book has a lot of that. He puts the characters in so many crazy situations that if you can pass by the absurdity of that situation, you find some big lessons and some big reflections about relationships and feelings. You can put yourself in the character a lot, no matter how different you are from that situation. It's a really great book. So if you want to find it, you can look for Amazon or your local bookstore. I am a strong supporter of independent bookstores. The book will be available on June 11. You can check the press tour dates right here on the description. During the press tour in Boston, he will have a very special guest who is Johnny's son, who wrote a really precious book called Everyone's an Alien When You're Alien Too. It's so pure and so powerful that you will not want to miss the opportunity to have those 2 books signed in the same place. So you should really check the book tour dates and look for the bookstores. Some are selling tickets, some are not. If you have any questions about the book, if you want to know more, all I can say is that if you really are a fan of BoJack Horseman, you will find a lot of that in this book. You will find that voice, you know, that's able to tell 2 stories at once, who is able to reveal something by the end of a tale or by the end of an episode. You know how the ICU thing, you keep saying, oh, it's just the feeling to be seen, and by the end of it you have this punch of reality that says, oh no, it's just the ICU sign. Damn! You have a lot of that in this book too. A lot of real feelings. Give this a chance. I know it's hard for authors to have like their first book published. I think it's obvious that Raphael used his moment to launch this. I'm happy for him, but it's not just that, you know. He's not just the BoJack Horseman's creator guy. He's a very creative writer. I think we should give him this credit. This is the opportunity to have more of that. I have this problem that when I like something, I become a bit addicted to it, maybe, because there's so many people saying weird stuff or negative stuff or bad stuff, like really mean stuff. Why should I listen to that? My time is limited, so I want to put my effort into someone who's saying good things, or at least things that make me think. And Raphael is doing that in a great way, in a creative way. You can see that he really puts a lot of craft to those stories, so we should give him our money. Put your money where your heart is that a saying? I don't know. But my heart is in this book, and I'm glad it exists, and I hope there's more to come. I will let all the links in the description of this video for you to buy the book, and if you buy the book using my Amazon link, you are going to do me a huge favor, because I will win like a really small commission. But if a lot of people buy, maybe this commission will be bigger. Thank you for watching, and yeah, feel free to leave a comment. I don't care about likes or anything. I know they are important, but I personally don't like, because they don't say anything to me. What I really like are comments, because they start conversations and I love to reply them, and I end up replying to all the comments that come to me, except the main ones. I ignore them. But yeah, that would be really great. I hope you like it, and buy the book when it's released, and I don't know, show up at the book tour if you're in LA or in San Francisco. I'll be attending those two events, and we can meet there. Maybe do a group hug on Raphael to thank him for his amazing work. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on Instagram. Bye bye.